Treyarch has teased the next round-based zombies map coming. I'm going to tell you all about it. Now, we've only just got Shi No Numa Reborn, and it's had a really good reception, so it's very good to see that Treyarch have another round-based zombies map up their sleeve. So let's discuss everything we know. Starting off with the location of this next round-based zombies map. And when we complete Shi No Numa's Easter egg, Gabriel Craft makes a comment about bringing everything with us for the final battle on the sands of Egypt. Now, why are we going to Egypt, and why is it so important? Well, in the main Vanguard storyline, as I'm sure you're all aware, we have a bunch of dark ether entities to communicate to us through artifacts in an overall bid to take down Cortifex the Deathless, the main evil dark ether entity, which is the Lord of the Dark Ether, and is responsible for granting Von List the power to raise the dead. Now, the way that all of these dark ether entities communicate to us in the real world is that they created an artifact for themselves, wrapping themselves inside and become symbiotically attached to the human host when they are activated. Now, the backstory for Cortifex is pretty interesting, as he created an artifact for himself, being a scepter based around the times of ancient Egypt, and his scepter would come to land in the land of the Nile, where he would be mistaken as the sun god Osiris by the Egyptians. His artifact would later be discovered in the Temple of Osiris, which is where Von List's group originally found the Cortifex artifact. Which brings us to the present moment in the zombie storyline as to why we are going to Egypt. Von List has restarted his operations there, as he believes the forming of the dark ether crystals will allow him to establish a crossover point to the dark ether, which he ultimately thinks will help Germany win the war. Now, at the same time, Cortifex wants to also go into the dark ether because there is a certain object that exists which is called the Construct, and we're looking at it right now. You can see it in the dark ether on Terra Maledicta, and he who seizes this construct will control everything living and undead, which is something that Cortifex is really interested in. Now, we obviously don't want that to happen, and we want to stop Cortifex and Von List. We've been unable to do that until recently. With Terra Maledicta, we had to get a page from the Tome of Rituals that explains how to unlink Cortifex from Von List. In Shi No Numa, we needed a relic in order to complete this process. So with the stakes of Cortifex and the Construct, it is now up to us to make our way to Egypt for our final encounter, which I reckon will ultimately end up removing Cortifex from Von List, and then there'll be a humongously awesome boss fight. Since we are going to Egypt and we already have seen a zombies map in Vanguard in Egypt, it is likely that we might see some parts of Terra Maledicta in this map, but please don't be concerned, as I'm almost positive that we're going to be getting a map that is set near Terra Maledicta, which is going to involve this Temple of Osiris, but it's not actually going to be on Terra Maledicta. I think Treyarch have heard loud and clear about the reception of that, and I don't think we're going to be revisiting it. But I would not be surprised if it looks fairly similar to Terra Maledicta. I mean, at least graphically, the map looks pretty nice. I'm quite excited to see what Treyarch do with this theme of a Temple of Osiris. It sounds awesome. Let me know what you think about this location in the comment section down below. I'd be really intrigued to see what you think. Now, there's also some teasers sprinkled around Shi No Numa that hint towards some sort of twist that we did not expect to happen in this story. What I mean by this is, in one of the radios, Craft ends it by saying, "And thus began our desperate alliance. I feel as though these men and women have come to trust me. I only hope when this is over that they will forgive me." What the heck? That to me screams that we might not want to trust Craft after all. And like Cold War, where everyone in that story got basically betrayed by Eddie, the director, at the end, we might also have a similar fate. Now, there's also going to be some sort of twist with Von List and Cortifex, as Von List has lost all credibility in the Die Warhigh, as everyone thinks Cortifex is in charge and not him. We have some really interesting dialogue to suggest that, as well as why they're going to Egypt.
Oberführer Wolfram von List to all troops of Kampfgruppe Die Wahrheit. Some of you are asking how safe it is to restart operations in the Eastern Desert. Well, I prefer unquestioning obedience. In this case, I shall try to explain the necessity of continuing our work there. First, the dark ether crystals contaminating the area have been tested by specialists from Uranverein. They declared radioactivity levels to be safe. So perhaps contamination is not the best word. In fact, those crystals are a sign that our efforts to establish a crossover point to the dark ether are succeeding. And look what that has won us already. Zabala now adds her strength to our efforts. What other new allies might we find as we expand our bridge to their universe? So
Blunt force trauma? I can handle it.
understand that caution is not cowardice.
Kaboom.
I know how hard it can be to question my orders. But for those who wonder if Cortifex is now in charge of Die Wahrheit, I have no patience. There is only one Oberführer here.
Bet your ass.
Leave
I know what to
Cortifex
do
to
with
me.
this.
Just leave him to me and get back to work.
Now, don't you think that's really intriguing? Without Cortifex, Von List is essentially powerless. He's been granted the supernatural power to raise the dead. But by the way that radio ends, it seems like this partnership that they have is waning as Von List wants to be fully in control with all the power here. He also might realize he just doesn't want to be controlled by this deity anymore. There's another radio which is incredibly fascinating to me, which is a conversation between Cortifex and Zabala, in which even she questions why he's still bothering with Von List and why they've just not seized the construct already.
My lord, why are we still wasting time here? Why have we not already seized the construct? And why do we need this red blood fool, this mortal, this Von List?
Zabala, your eagerness to serve me is beginning to sound like impatience.
But with all the power you have granted him, he should have exterminated our enemies by now. He is unworthy of our help, unworthy of you, Lord Cortifex. I don't understand why you...
You run that mouth far too much, and you see far too little. How has it escaped your notice that everything is coming together for me? Even Verkana is here to share her punishment alongside the traitors Nauticus and Invictor. Everything is proceeding exactly as I intend. How dare you even think anything to the contrary?
Lord Cortifex, I am sorry. Please forgive me.
I don't do forgiveness, Zabala. Now get back to your duties.
Following on from that, there's also another radio from Kraft explaining everything in this next map.
You battle in that swamp. I want to update you on Von List's activities at the desert site in Egypt. After all, should we succeed in obtaining the relic, the Eastern Desert will be the best place where we use it on Von List and Cortifex. This is because Die Wahrheit have resumed operations in the area, which is surprising considering how many men they lost there. Remember, all the dark ether crystals in that area came from their catastrophic attempt to demolish the temple where we found the scepter of Cortifex. And while they may have been trying to cover their tracks, as it were, I still don't get why they did it. I was there when we found the scepter. I had already seen all the secrets in that chamber. Was the whole point to further weaken the dimensional barrier? I only hope whatever they are doing now does not make things worse. But if Von List is on site, that is where we will separate him from Cortifex. That is where our final battle will occur.
And there we have it. Let me know what you think down below, guys, about this Egypt map. What are you hoping? What are you expecting? As soon as we learn more about this map, I'll be sure to update you guys. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. But if you want to check out more Shi No Numa Vanguard goodness, you can check out my Easter egg guide, as well as every side Easter egg on your screen right now.